First at 5 tonight, the Heroes family. We have a really interesting update now to a story we brought you last night.
It was about local Second World War hero James Gordon Austin. A Nova Scotia man found some of Austin's military citations and family photos inside a bag of art supplies he bought at a yard sale.
CTV's Sarah Ritchie wanted to learn more about Gordon's remarkable career and find out how his personal belongings got there. Well, she didn't have to wait long after the story aired for some answers.
Yeah, Jason and Maria, it was just minutes after our story aired that the phones here started to ring and the emails started to come in. And it just so happened that both of James Austin's daughters reached out to us. So today we went to meet Susan and Trudy.
They said Dad's name and I was shocked. I was really, really shocked.
Susan Smith didn't expect to see a story about her father while watching the news last night, but there was a photo of James, Fran, and Trudy Austin. Now a few years older, Trudy Lemieux was also taken aback by the news that someone had picked up their dad's military citations and family photos at a yard sale.
Now the end comes clear. I know how they got missing. Yes, and that would involve my husband.
The envelope was sold by accident to a man named Howard Manette. Trudy didn't even know it was missing until yesterday. The sisters weren't the only ones who reached out after the story aired. We received a number of emails and phone calls from people who served with James Austin. They make note of the man's handlebar mustache, which was once cut off for charity.
We used to watch him waxing it and waxing it and waxing it, and it was so hard and stiff.
And his unusual nickname,
Mick the Stick.
Trudy isn't exactly sure where Mick comes from.
I always thought his name was Mick. I did not know it was James Gordon until because everybody just called him Mick.
His soldiers gave him the Mick the Stick nickname because he was a strict disciplinarian. They just didn't use it in front of him.
You know, he was in charge of a lot of people, and he was in charge of us at home.
Yeah, he could be quite strict at home. If he saw us chewing bubble gum or something, he'd say, "You chewing gum?" and make us put it on our nose.
He was strong when he had to be, and when he didn't have to be, we could twirl him around our finger, my sister and I.
Dad and I got along really well. We joked around a lot. I admired Dad.
James Austin had a career worth admiring. He served with the Royal Winnipeg Rifles during the Second World War, rising through the ranks to become a regimental sergeant major in his early 20s. He was recognized with one of Canada's highest military honors, the Military Cross.
He was in a prisoner of war camp over in France. I never did find out how long he was in there. He never would talk about it.
In addition to his own collection of medals, Austin brought home a German Iron Cross, something he says he took from the body of a German officer on D-Day. He also went on to serve in Korea. Trudy says war left a lasting impact on her father, and his service impacted his family.
I've lived in Calgary. I've lived in Victoria. We've lived in Ontario. And we went to Germany, to Hamer. We were there for 5 years.
Both Susan and Trudy married military men themselves and ended up back in Nova Scotia. His daughters have always felt James Austin deserves some recognition at home. Now they say they'll be in touch with the Army Museum in Halifax to talk about a permanent memorial.
I'd like to see a lot of his stuff being taken to the museum. Now that we have a place, I never knew where to send the stuff to.
We'll take photocopies and there it'll be for someone.
The sisters say they're grateful to Howard Manette for taking such good care of the documents and for making sure they ended up in the right hands.
I would like to thank him for taking it to the station and having it aired, because without that we would have never seen those documents again.
And Jane Maria, Susan and her husband were actually in touch with Howard Manette late yesterday afternoon. They say they're eager to meet him.
Wow. Absolutely. Such a great story, Sarah. I know you and I definitely enjoyed this one over the last couple of days. I love military stories, and to have a mystery combined. The best part is you solved it and did a great job. Thanks, Sarah.